through St. Louis and Cincinnati, and they thrived against the Cardinals and Reds. In the end, a 5-2 road trip left the Giants with the best record in baseball. Now, back at the corner of third and King, and Matt Cain returns to the rotation from the disabled list. It's Cain of the Giants against the Mets. Game 1 of the series next.
At the corner of 3rd and King Streets, 24 Willie Mays Plaza, the beautiful downtown home of the Giants. It's the Giants and the New York Mets. Hello, everyone. I'm John Miller along with Mike Krukow. Welcome to San Francisco Giants baseball. These are exciting times for the Giants. Another outstanding road trip. The Giants have the best record in the majors, 39-21. And now Matt Cain returns from the disabled list. Matt Cain up against the Mets, who come in limping from Chicago, where they were swept by the Cubs.
Well, they were swept by the Cubs, but I think perhaps they look upon this opportunity to play the Giants as one where they can get right mentally. If they can win a series on the road in San Francisco against the team with the best record in baseball, then they obviously would benefit from that big time. So I think that's what they're going to stress. Matt Cain, 5-5 lifetime against these Mets. He is the X factor. Prior to him going out with his hamstring injury, he was throwing great baseball. And that means just outstanding command of the fastball, which he had. The velocity right around low 90s, but a great mixture of fastball changeup. And he was able to go to both sides of the plate with consistency. That will be his key. And the other thing about the Mets, we've heard so much about them having a bad offense, and they're hitting 235. That's not great, but they've scored just 21 fewer runs than the Giants. Don't take them lightly.
And they've done a lot more hitting on the road than they've done at their home ballpark, Citi Field. So we'll see tonight. The Giants up against the Mets. Yesterday, what a day for Brandon Crawford. He put on a show, a long home run, and several spectacular plays in the field. When we come back to AT&T Park, Amy G with more on Brandon Crawford's great day.
Park as the Giants get ready for 10 straight, and tonight they kick off a 3-game series against the New York Mets. Welcome back to the broadcast. I'm Amy Gutierrez, and it's often said that pitching and defense win games, and your San Francisco Giants are proof of that adage. The starting pitching and the bullpen have been excellent, and the offense and the defense continue to come up big. Tonight we highlight Brandon Crawford. It's our Ram Gutsy play as we take you back to yesterday at the Great American Ballpark. He ropes a 4th inning 3-run home run to deep right center. He knocks in Pablo Sandoval and Tyler Colvin, and then he goes to work in the field. He shows off his defensive range, a backhanded pick with a long throw, and nearly 5 minutes later he does it again. He makes it look so easy, and there is nothing routine about it. Ram 1500, Motor Trend's 2014 Truck of the Year, and first ever back-to-back champion. All right, fans get to see Matt Cain back on the hill this evening. John Miller, Mike Krupko are going to have the call, but after these messages, we're going to check in with our Comcast Sportsnet studios for an update, so don't go anywhere.
The Giants return to AT&T Park for a 10-game homestand, and it starts with a 3-game series against the New York Mets this evening. Welcome into the Comcast Sportsnet studios. I'm Mindy Bach alongside our Giants analyst Sean Estes. And Sean, the news, of course, is that Matt Cain taken off the 15-day DL. He will make the start this evening, but he missed his last 3 starts in the rotation. What can the Giants expect from him tonight?
Well, I expect Matt Cain to pitch very well. I mean, before he went on the DL, he got his first win against the Florida Marlins. Then he hurt his hamstring against the Colorado Rockies in a game in which he didn't give up any hits for the first 3 innings. So he's got to be chomping at the bit to get back on the mound right now. As well as his pitching staff has been, he's only going to make them better right now. And an interesting stat with Matt Cain is that he's 81-10 when a team scores 3 runs or more. This offense has been especially good as of late. In the last 10 games, they've scored 3 runs or more. So it's especially frustrating for him to be sitting on the sidelines right now during a time when the offense is doing so well. And historically, he's been a guy that hasn't gotten a lot of runs. So he's missing some opportunities to get some wins out there.
Well, the shortest outing of his career came against the Mets, unfortunately, last season. He lasted just 2/3 of an inning, gave up 3 runs, and walked 3 as well. Knowing him how you do, how much of that is motivation for him to come out and have a strong performance against that team this evening?
Well, as long as Matt Cain's throwing the ball where he wants to, and that's what he was doing before he got hurt, doesn't matter who he's facing. But an interesting matchup today will be against David Wright. Lifetime, David Wright hitting .440, 11 for 25 off of Matt Cain. So something to watch tonight is how he pitches to David Wright.
Okay, and of course we will have Sportsnet Central on right after the Giants' final out. You can join us here. We will have all your highlights and clubhouse reaction. Sean, you're going to join me again. We'll have some fun in studio. And of course, the 49ers and the Raiders square off in a fun basketball game. All that and more. We'll see you then, but enjoy the game.
Though I don't know if those are part of the regatta or not, but it's a beautiful night for sailing on the bay as the Giants and Mets get ready to play game 1 of a 3-game series. Let's take a look as the Giants have taken the field. At the Mets batting order, Matt Den Decker leads off center field. Daniel Murphy second base. The perennial all-star David Wright at third base, and he has given Matt Cain a lot of trouble over the years, of .440 lifetime average. Curtis Granderson hitting cleanup, the former Yankee and Tiger in right field. Andrew Brown recently up for the minors in left field. Lucas Duda, who's been hitting a lot of home runs lately, he's at first base. Ruben Tejada is the shortstop hitting 7th. Travis d'Arnaud, the catcher, and Jonathan Neese with a 2.69 ERA bats 9th. He's the pitcher.
On the hill tonight for the Giants will be the 3-time All-Star Matt Cain, making his 9th start of the season after being reinstated off the disabled list today. Missed 3 turns in the rotation with a right hamstring strain that he suffered in his start April 23rd in Colorado. Overall, 1-3 with a 3.66 ERA. Really hasn't told you as to how well he's been throwing. And he has been throwing well. When he's throwing well, you're going to see a low 90s fastball that he'll spot on all 4 corners of the strike zone with consistency. He'll 2-seam and 4-seam those grips. He's got a changeup that he'll throw off the fastball. He'll throw a curveball, a slider. He will cut the ball. He is a control specialist with a high 3/4 short arm release. Let's take a look at the outfield. The defense overall starting in the outfield. From left to right will be Perez, Pagan, and Pence, the killer P's. Sandoval and Crawford on the left side of the infield. Hicks and Morris on the right side. And Buster Posey will be in the squad putting down the signs. Pretty good arms across the board for the Giants. Perez is a strong and accurate arm. Probably these three have the best arms. If you were to put all of the best arms in the outfield at the same time, you're looking at them for the Giants.
And the As You Wish is dropped anchor out in McCovey Cove.
It's a good looking ride right there.
Wouldn't mind checking it out. Here's a called strike from Matt Cain at 92 miles an hour. And Bruce Bochy said it'll be interesting to see how Cain comes back. He has not pitched since going 3 innings in Colorado on May the 21st. He strained his right hamstring in that game. And the count to Dendecker is 0-2. Cain, and you pointed it out at the top of the telecast, he was throwing probably his best of the season at the time that he strained the hamstring. We'll see if he can come back to that same form. And that changeup runs down and away. The umpiring alignment, Rob Drake is calling the balls and strikes. The crew chief, Joe West. First base, Pat Holberg at second, Marty Foster at third. Two and two.
Talk about Rob Drake's strike zone. I think he's a low ball umpire, but he will call some belts. And I think he's a good umpire in that he sets that zone early and it stays pretty steady throughout the game. But he can be tight at times.
And that's right to Hicks. One away.
This was the injury to Matt Cain, a comebacker that hit his glove. He thought initially it may have hit his leg. But after he made the play or stopped the ball, he went back. His right foot slipped, went out to make the play. He made a tremendous play. And this was the last pitch he threw in that game. And you can see he grabbed his right hamstring, and that was it. It was classified a grade 1 strain out of a possible 4 being the worst.
LeMahieu is the one who hit the ball back at him. And then the third batter that inning, Blackman, was the one he struck out looking. But it was also his final pitch. And Hicks throws out Daniel Murphy, so a couple of ground balls. 2 down, nobody on for the Mets, and David Wright will head to the plate. You can see on the out-of-town scoreboard there, out in the archway in the right field wall, the Dodgers playing at Colorado. The second place Dodgers and the third place Rockies going at it this weekend. And the Dodgers, back of Ryu, have a 4-0 lead over Colorado in the last of the 5th inning there. We'll keep an eye on that ball game. Eddie Butler, one of the highly touted minor leaguers, making his first major league start in that game for the Rockies. Well, here's David Wright, 31-year-old right-handed hitter. Right there, outside corner, knee high, 0-1. He's 11 for 25 lifetime against Matt Cain.
And Cain looks like he's got a nice rhythm here early on in the first.
Little off the outside, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Yeah, but he didn't miss by much, and you can often tell what type of a rhythm a guy is, just how he misses out of the strike zone. He's missing big margins or small margins.
That is out of play, off to the right. 94-mile-an-hour fastball right there.
Well, right before he injured his leg in Colorado, Dave Righetti said that they had discovered something in his mechanics on the side between starts, and they were really excited about what it was doing to his velocity, his command, and his movement. Took it into the game, and that was, of course, the game that he got hurt. But his velocity has become much improved with the better mechanics. And as you saw, that fastball at 94, we haven't seen many 94s early in April and May. There's 92, 93, and more 92s than 93s. There's Dave Righetti.
Two balls, 2 strikes to the dangerous David Wright. Wright not hitting for power so far this year. He's had only 4 home runs, 32 batted in though. And that's low. Full count. Curtis Granderson, the veteran, most recently with the Yankees in the American League. Now a Met. He's on deck. He would be next. 3-2 the count to right. Shallow right field. Angling back is Hicks. In comes Pence. Look out. Pence takes charge. 3 up, 3 down inning for Matt Cain. Pagan, Pence, Posey coming up for the Giants. Here at AT&T Park, the Giants batting order presented by Audi. Truth in engineering. Pagan in center. Pence in right. Posey back of the plate. Pablo Sandoval hitting cleanup. And batting fourth, he's hitting .373 with an RBI per game in the cleanup spot. Michael Morse hit homers in the last 2 games in Cincinnati. He's at first. Juan Perez, who had the game-winning homer on Wednesday, he's back in left field. Brandon Crawford, the shortstop. Hicks at second. Cain, the pitcher, batting ninth.
On the hill tonight for the New York Mets will be Jonathan Nice, the 5-year veteran, 6'3", 218-pounder. Take a look at his numbers. And when you take your at bat against Nice, you're going to see a fastball that's high 80s, low 90s. He'll give you a curveball, slider, changeup, and really he'll throw anything at any time. He's got good stuff and a great command of all of his off-speed stuff.
He's facing a former Met here, Pagan. That one is down and in. 1 ball, 1 strike. 84 miles an hour with that one.
He's a big guy, 6'3", 220-pounder out of Defiance, Ohio.
Giants just left Ohio. And that curve is in the dirt. 2-1. But I didn't get to Defiance, did you?
No, but I know, but people are very stubborn in Defiance.
If you live in Defiance, you have to. There's a lot of rules that you have to follow. Here is Dendecker in center, and Pagan hit it very solidly, but right to the center fielder.
Let's take a look at the defense for the Mets, starting in their outfield from left to right. It'll be Brown, Dendecker, and Granderson. Tejada and Wright on the left side of the infield. Murphy and Duda on the right side. And Travis d'Arnaud will be the catcher in the squad, putting down the signs for Jonathan Nice.
Hunter Pence. Curveball. And skies it into shallow center. And it's the shortstop Tejada calling off Murphy, the second baseman. 2 down.
Now, Jonathan Nice is one of those guys that he's got really good specialty pitches, the curveball, slider, changeup, and if he gets one of those pitches going, he will ride it hard, and he's not afraid to throw anything in any count. That's really one of his strengths. But he also understands the fastball. I mean, he will 2 and 4 seam the fastball. He uses that two-seamer when he's pitching for ground balls. He can get that cut fastball in on righties on the hands.
So 2 down, nobody on, and here is Buster Posey. No score. And the curve is outside. How about this for a guy who would one day become a Met? Jonathan Neese was born in 1986. The night that he was born was the night the Mets clinched the 1986 World Series.
Destined.
What if the Red Sox had won it?
Well, yeah, he'd have been drafted by the Red Sox.
His life path was set at birth. There's a ball in the dirt, and it's 2-1 to Buster Posey. Keith Hernandez was there. He was the first baseman, and a great first baseman. Hernandez, who's from San Francisco. 2-2 now to Buster.
Well, he was on 2 World Championship teams, and he was a mainstay in both. The Cardinals when they won in 1982, and then, of course, the 86 Mets. But an MVP in 1979. Fantastic player. He really should get more Hall of Fame consideration, considering the type of player he was.
Now, I guess the only thing that lacked for him was that he wasn't a big home run hitter. He hit for high average. When he won the MVP, he hit .344. That's a base hit for Buster Posey, a former MVP winner here in the National League. He's trying to get himself going here. Buster, who had an RBI single in the 7th inning yesterday in Cincinnati.
A little cut fastball they try to get in tight with. Watch the elbows bend through the swing, and he squares it up. And watch him take his batting practice today. Really trying to stay in one piece, use the right side of the field almost exclusively in his at-bats. And he just stayed inside that pitch beautifully. Nicely done.
Buster on the bag at first. Duda on the bag with him. And now Pablo Sandoval. That ball is hit deep, but heading down the left field line, foul. And not even that deep.
Well, I thought it was.
Looks so promising off the bat. Pablo hitting .251, but in the last 24 games hitting .359.
It's great talking to Pablo today around the batting cage. He was talking about his teammates. He said, I was really down in April. I couldn't get anything going, but he said they all came up to me and they kept me going. They said things would turn around. He says, I'll never forget that.
There's David Wright to Murphy at second for the force on Posey, ending the inning. No score. Cain back to work with Granderson coming up in the second.
for him on the 25-man roster. The Giants designated for assignment reliever David Huff. Bruce Bochy said he's comfortable going with 12 pitchers. Petit will assume the long man role, and keeping Perez gives Bochy more depth off the bench. John and Mike.
All right, so the Giants, who have been going with a short bench for a good long while, but now they'll have what now is considered the full complement of bench players, 5 non-pitchers. Ball 1 to Curtis Granderson.
Yeah, and I know it was a difficult decision to say goodbye to David Huff, and hopefully he finds his way back here. Enjoyed him as a Giant.
Foul ball into the crowd. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, Huff goes designated for assignment. He goes through a whole process now. Could be traded. Gets put on waivers. Could get claimed on waivers by somebody. That change up in the dirt. 2-1. Or if he goes through all of that and nobody has claimed him, he could end up with the Giants in the minor league system. I have a feeling somebody is going to want him, though.
Yeah, me too.
High in the air, shallow center, Pagan. 1 away. Well, Father's Day weekend is next weekend. Spend the day with Dad and your division-leading Giants here at the ballpark. The Giants Father's Day gift pack includes tickets to the Father's Day necktie giveaway. Giants and the Rockies on Sunday the 15th. And it also includes a ticket to a second game later on this year. 2 Giants games plus the necktie for Dad. Visit sfgiants.com/mini-packs to get the special Father's Day gift pack. Now here is Andrew Brown. Ball 1. Right-handed hitter Brown, just recently recalled for the minors, hitting 200, 6 for 30, but he has 2 home runs. He's got some pop. At Vegas this year, hitting .359 with 13 home runs. That's foul. A ball and a strike. No score in the game. We're in the second inning here. Twilight time in the city. Remember, tomorrow's game is a 7:05 start. Game 2 of this series. There's the fog that has come in through the Golden Gate, creeping out over Yerba Buena Island, Treasure Island. Just a bit low. Tomorrow night, Tim Hudson for the Giants against Bartolo Colon. Now that's a couple of wily veterans tomorrow night. And then the day game on Sunday, Tim Lincecum against former Giants farmhand Zach Wheeler. 2-1. And ball 3. There's Hudson.
Yeah, you're going to see a lot of strikes tomorrow between Hudson and Bartolo Colon. Joe West will be the plate umpire. Both guys work quick. Joe West likes it when you work quick.
Just about everybody likes it. The pitcher works quickly, except for maybe some hitters. Left field, going back Perez, and he has room, it seems, right in front of the cars.
Wow. Andy Brown had been red hot before he got called up. And he's heading back to the Mets dugout, and he's thinking to himself, I just missed it. Got underneath it a little bit. But we did see that there is some carry to left field right now.
The way that Perez went after that ball, it did appear that it went deeper than he originally expected it to. So here's Lucas Duda. The Giants go back into a shift defensively, and he hits right into the shift to Morris, who makes the catch right near the right shoe top. And just like that, the inning is over. Michael Morris coming up.
driving machine at BayAreaBMW.com. And yesterday was Michael Morse, who hit a home run that absolutely got things started for the Giants. They were trailing in that ball game, and he had come up with the big blast, lit up that dugout like he did the night before, and that is our BMW drive.
It was a 440-foot home run yesterday. The Giants were down 1-0 when he hit it. That put them ahead, and they stayed ahead the rest of the day. He also hit a home run for the Giants' first run the night before in Cincinnati. They were trailing 2-0 with 2 down in the 6th inning. This is Tejada, and Morse is out number 1. And that'll bring up Juan Perez. And apparently the batting order we gave you was not exactly correct, because out on deck comes Brandon Hicks, number 14, behind Perez. And Crawford and Hicks have been flip-flopping the batting order from the one we were originally given. Perez, first ball swinging out of the right center. Granderson, 2 down. By the way, Bruce Bochy told a story tonight that yesterday before the game, about an hour before game time, Perez came in to see him. He said, "What about the home run rule?" And he came in with hitting instructor Hensley Mullins. And Bochy says, "The home run rule." He says, "I hit a home run yesterday. Isn't that the rule I'm supposed to play the next day?" And so Bochy said, "Oh, that's generally the rule, but there's a little known codicil that you will start the next day unless the other guy has hit 3 or more home runs in his career against that day's pitcher." He said, Colvin has hit 4 against this guy, so sorry, you have to check the fine print.
Well, I like the fact that he's going in there. A player will not go into a manager's office unless he's got a little confidence going. And this is the swing of the bat that was the difference in the ball game, as the Giants won this game 3-2. They scored all 3 runs. I think it was the 6th inning, and this was a 2-run shot on a first pitch fastball that Perez hit, his first of the year.
Hicks down the right field line into the first archway. Granderson plays the carom. Hicks at second with a stand-up double. Nice to see him hit that kind of authority to the opposite field.
Well, I think he was getting a little pull happy, and you started to see his batting average starting to go the other way. He was hitting 182 coming into tonight's ball game, and this a nice opposite field at bat. You can see him stay inside, and the balance is perfect up on from the body being in the middle of the feet, not getting out of that front foot at all. And those are the type of things that a guy looks for when he's trying to get out of a bit of a funk.
And Hicks, who had been striking out a huge preponderance of the time lately, the last 2-3 games has started to make hard contact again. Here's Brandon Crawford, and yesterday he had a day. That's a called strike. And Crawford is up with first base open and the pitcher up next, but he's a lefty against a lefty. Crawford is 0 for 3. A few times he's faced Nice in the past.
Well, he shouldn't see anything out in the middle of the strike zone. It should all be corner strikes here with the pitcher on deck. But most pitchers will tell you they like to nail down the 8th hitter so they can lead off the next inning with the pitcher. They don't like to walk a guy. And Nice is a good command pitcher, so he knows the deal here. Stay in the corner. He chases great. But in the same vein, if you're Crawford, you're supposed to expand your zone and get after it. Don't leave it up to the pitcher to drive a run in.
By the way, there's the lineup card in the Mets dugout. The Giants with Hicks 7, Crawford 8. Flip-flop from what we were originally given. Runner in scoring position with 2 down. 1 ball and 2 strikes to count to Brandon Crawford. Hit a 411-foot home run yesterday in Cincinnati. 2-2 the count. I mean, he put on a show yesterday. Because that home run, that was the backbreaker for the Reds. It was 2-1 when he hit it, and suddenly it was 5-1. Plus, he made how many? 5, 6 sensational plays defensively.
Yeah, he picked it clean.
Going back in left field is Brown. He's there. We're head to the third. Hit well by Crawford. No score after 2. If you've been injured in an accident, call 1-800-4INJURY or go to 1-800-4INJURY.com. The Cavara Law Firm. Matt Harvey underwent Tommy John surgery this past October. He was one of the most exciting, dynamic young pitchers in the game. The Mets have now pushed back his schedule to begin throwing off the mound after originally having seen him expect to throw this coming Tuesday. The Mets, I think, got a little uptight about it. He's been trying to push the envelope a little bit to get back sooner than expected. And the Mets are, I think, fearful that no good can come of that.
Well, he's young and he wants to pitch. I mean, it's when you're a big leaguer and you're dominating at the big league level, you want to get back and do it again. I don't blame him.
Here is Ruben Tejada, strike one.
I don't blame him, but the Mets are not going to rush that kid. There's just no way.
Well, Zach Wheeler, who's going to go here Sunday, acquired in a trade with the Giants. They're very high on him. Harvey, it looked like he could be one of the best in the league. And the count is on 2 now to Tejada. And they also have a young guy in the minor leagues, Noah Syndergaard, whom they acquired in a deal with the Toronto Blue Jays. And he's got great stuff. Harvey-like stuff himself. This is how the Mets have been building for the future. 1-2. Tejada, Mets shortstop, hitting .230, 2 home runs. He and Wilmer Flores, who's recently been brought up from the minor leagues, have been sharing time at shortstop. Tejada is only 24 years old. That's foul off the right field line. 1 ball and 2 strikes. No score here in the third. Dodgers lead their game 6-0 over Colorado in the last of the 6th. And now it's 6-1. Drew Stubbs just hit a home run for the Rockies in the 6th inning against Ryu. Washington playing down the coast in San Diego. Washington will be here on Monday. The Nationals come to town. Until tonight, the Giants had not played the Mets. They had not played Washington, nor have they played Philadelphia. They also have not played Milwaukee. 4 teams in the league that they have yet to play. 2-2.
Tejada taking a long time to get in the box.
Still 2-2.
Step out. I mean, he's a 230 hitter. You need to pick up the pace a little bit. He's got the act of a 330 hitter.
I mean, Cain's on the mound, ready to go.
Pitchers do not like that.
Strike 3 called.
That's a fine meat. Front door with the slider, and that's exactly where they set it. Sometimes you see a guy throw a slider to a right-handed pitcher to a right-handed hitter, you're thinking, you know, they want to throw it away. But look at the target for Posey. They want it in the inside corner. They wrap it around, and they get the call from Rob Drake.
Well thrown by Cain. Here's Travis d'Arnaud, a guy they expect to turn into an excellent player. He was highly coveted out of the Blue Jays farm system. Buster Posey. He's got it. Morris came down the line from first. It looked like Matt Cain was telling him, no, Buster's got this one. So 2 men are gone. Saturday, a week from Saturday, June 14th, will be our first Gamer Day here at the ballpark, presented by Half Moon Bay Brewing Company. Mike Krukow, leader of the Gamer Babe movement, will be joined by special Giants guests for a pregame Q&A. I didn't know this was a movement.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Mike Krukow, the guru of the Gamer movement. You'll get access to the pregame Baseball Insiders Q&A session, a Gamer cap and patch and a ticket. See the Giants and the Rockies. sfgiants.com/special events. You have to get the special event ticket to be part of the Gamer. Is it the Gamer movement or the Gamer Babe movement?
Well, it's the Gamer movement, but there's going to be lots of Gamer Babes there.
So there's Gamer Babes and Gamer Dudes, or what?
Just flat out gamers.
And the inning is over. Jonathan Neese called out on strikes, and Matt Cain is retired 9 in a row. Cain coming up when we return.
Overall pick, the Giants chose Tyler Beede, a right-handed pitcher out of Vanderbilt. He's 21 years old, 6'4", 215 pounds. John Barr, who oversees scouting for the Giants, said he has a chance of moving quickly. You can't teach an arm that he has. He has a fastball that goes 92 to 94 but can reach 97, a curveball, and a changeup, all considered excellent. John and Mike?
All right, I think a lot of people are excited about that pick. Here's Matt Cain to lead off against Jonathan Neese. And it's a called strike on the inside. Matt Cain, 6 career home runs. The count 1 ball and 1 strike. Cain has not hit one this year, although he has a .250 batting average. At the knees, strike 2 call.
An exciting day if you're an amateur player. High school, junior college. Now international players are being included in the draft.
Still 1-2.
And every player out there will remember this day in some way. It's just an incredible feeling when you get a phone call that says that you've been drafted.
And the curveball for the strikeout.
All right, time now for our Xfinity Future Focus, brought to you by the X1 Entertainment operating system, only from Xfinity, bringing TV and internet together like never before. Tyler Beede, a junior at Vanderbilt, 6'4", 215-pounder, high three-quarter release. This season went 8-7 with a 3.20 ERA, averaged almost 10 strikeouts per 9 innings. And playing Stanford right now, the Super Regional, the winner will advance to the College World Series. And there, hopefully very soon, will be the newest Giant.
Pagan lined out to center his first time. And the curveball for strike 1. No score in the game here in the third. Giants and Mets. The Mets who came in from Chicago. Been on a long road trip where they played 5 in Philadelphia, then went to Chicago for 3, and now 3 here. It's 0-2 now to Pagan. They won 4 out of 5 from the Phillies, but then went to Chicago and got swept in a 3-game series by the Cubs. 0-2 the count to Pagan. And time taken, he backs away. The Mets are 4 games under 500 after that sweep at the hands of the Cubs, and yet they're only 4 games out of first in the tightly bunched National League East. 1-2. The Braves and the Marlins in a virtual tie for first at the start of the day. Washington just a game out, and then the Mets 4 games out. Philadelphia bringing up the rear, 7 games behind. Two and two. Pagan, a switch hitter who's hit better as a left-handed batter so far this year, which is pretty commonplace. 2/3 of his at-bats have come as a left-handed hitter. He's hit .286 batting right-handed, .338 batting left-handed. That's a pretty good eye there, taking that curveball, 2 strikes.
Yeah, good take, good pitch. Had a 2-2 count. And one thing about Neese, he's not ever afraid to get into a 3-2 count because he has excellent command. Here, he goes below the strike zone with that big curveball. That's exactly where he wanted to put it, and that was a nice take from Pagan's perspective.
Struck him out. He went back to another breaking ball and got him.
Time now for Toyota by the numbers. Only Toyota has something for everyone. Hurry in and get big savings on 14 models. Toyota, let's go places. And you talk about Vanderbilt. I mean, it has been a haven for first-round picks, and this is since 2007. They had David Price, Pedro Alvarez, Mike Minor, Sonny Gray, and now the Giants get Tyler Beede.
Sonny Gray drafted just a couple of years ago, and he's already the ace of that Oakland staff. And he's one of the top pitchers in the American League. And there are some similarities in size and style between Beede and Sonny Gray, which is not to say that he's going to be as good as Gray has been already, but I think there's a lot of the things the A's liked about Gray, the Giants like about Beede. And the curve is too low. It's 3-0 to Hunter Pence, who popped out to short his first time. No score, 2 down, nobody on. And that's a strike. 88-mile-an-hour fastball. Posey on deck. And now it's 3-2.
It's great to watch the Giants get off the plane last night and get their first breath of cool air in the Bay Area. It was pretty fun to see the response. They all enjoyed it. And it's fun to come here, and especially on a Friday night. You come back, you start a 10-game homestand. It's a Friday night. You put on the orange tops. You know you're going to have a full house. And it will absolutely take any fatigue that you had from that road trip away.
3-2 to Pence. Off the fists. Look out. We need to do a crew roll call down there.
I think we're good. All right, heads up. Here it comes. Right in the chest. You got to bring your glove.
I didn't know that was allowed.
All right, he's smiling. We're good.
3-2 to Hunter Pence. And that's right back beneath us into the second deck.
If that guy doesn't bring a glove, he's got to bring a chest protector at least.
One of those big balloon type protectors like the American League umpires used to wear.
Perfect.
Here's Daniel Murphy. Just got him. He took his time, and Hunter Pence was sprinting up the line. The inning is over. Top of the order coming up with the Mets against Matt Cain. By Foxit, providers of fast, affordable, and secure PDF solutions. Yesterday, the defense, starting with the first batter of the game for the Reds, Hunter Pence taking maybe a triple away from Hamilton. Then this play by Crawford, one of many. And then Billy Hamilton robbed again by Pablo, maybe the play of the game. Wow. And finally, Brandon Crawford, one of 5 or 6 sensational plays by the Giants shortstop, who also added in a 3-run homer, a day to remember for Brandon Crawford. Pablo Sandoval, who made that excellent play, taking away a double or a triple from Billy Hamilton, and Pablo had glove work like that all through the road trip. Here's Matt Den Decker, and Cain curves him for a called strike. Den Decker grounded out to second his first time. Cain has retired the first 9 in a row, and he starts at the top of the order the second time around here in the 4th. 1-1. The Mets have not yet had a base runner. The Giants have had 2 hits, but also no runs against Jonathan Neese. Here's Crawford. Decker, a fast runner, just in time.
Yeah, Ken Decker, he'll make you hurry a play, especially from the left side. He hits a medium ground ball to a shortstop. If you're playing deep at the cut of the grass in the outfield, you're not going to get him.
Now Daniel Murphy. Murphy, the veteran, came into this game hitting .297. Never been a big power hitter, but he's always a guy who you expect to hit around 300. Get some walks. He's got a .353 on base average.
Very compact swing. Great balance. You never see him really get off his back leg, reach. And the other thing, too, hitting coaches will tell you that he lets the ball travel. He lets the ball get deep to him. He'll use the whole field. You see the way the Giants are defending against him. They bunch the gaps in center and right. And the only guy who really makes any adjustment is Sandoval, who plays a little bit out of straightaway third towards the second base bag. It's pretty straightaway defense. And I think really as you defend against a guy like Murphy, you compliment him when you play him straight up. You're saying, you know what, we know you hit the ball everywhere, and we respect that.
Quickly, an 0-2 count to Daniel Murphy. David Wright is on deck. No score here in the fourth. Ooh, right there, strike three call. On the outside.
Now Buster Posey set that target on the inside corner, and he asked for it. Watch it move on the inside, and this thing wraps around the outside corner. One thing about Rob Drake, you do not have to put the ball between a catcher's knees to get a strike from him. He has his strike zone, and in his eye, that was on the outside corner. There's the inside target from Posey. I think he wanted a back foot slider. This thing wraps around the outside corner. See ya. That's a rough at bat. All three strikeouts from Cain have been called strike threes tonight.
Here's David Wright. He hit a fly ball to shallow right his first time. And ball one.
And he's another guy, just like Daniel Murphy. David Wright is another guy that lets the ball get deep. He really stays inside the ball. Very similar swing to that of Buster Posey's.
2-0. 11 consecutive Mets retired by Cain. Also yesterday, Madison Bumgarner retired the last 16 hitters that he faced, and Cantos retired the side order in the ninth inning. The Giants pitching going back to the third inning yesterday retired 30 in a row. There goes Pence. That's 12 consecutive Mets retired by Matt Cain. Posey, Pablo, Morse coming up in a scoreless game. Fourth inning. We are at AT&T Park in downtown San Francisco. The start of a 10-game homestand. 3 here with the Mets this weekend. Tickets still available all through the weekend, by the way, at sfgiants.com. And 4 with the Nationals starting Monday night. There's a called strike from Nice to Buster Posey. Buster singled to left his first time. And then next Friday, a week from tonight, the Colorado Rockies come in. A ball and a strike. Posey, then Pablo. Michael Morse due up third in the inning. Join one. Posey 5 for 13 in his career against Nice, including 2 doubles and a homer. And that one on the outer third for a called strike. 2-2.
He's just not seeming to throw the same speeded pitch twice in a row. He really is varying his looks, his movement, his speed, locations.
Curveball right up the middle. And Buster is 2 for 2.
It's a quick swing right there.
Giants baseball is brought to you in part by Toyota. Only Toyota has something for everyone. Hurry in and get big savings on 14 models. Toyota. Let's go places. I'm John Miller along with Mike Krukow. Giants baseball on NBC Bay Area and the Giants television network. Here's Pablo Sandoval, who hit into a forced play his first time. What are you seeing from Pablo as a right-handed hitter? Because for the year, his right-handed average is still very low. Into center, over into right center. Then Decker calls off Granderson.
Well, I think from the right side, he doesn't have quite the coverage to the outside part of the plate that he does from the left side right now. Yeah, I think he's very quick middle in. But I do believe his swings from the right side are way better than what we saw earlier in the year. And he was really pulling off. And I think you're starting to see the right side wake up. I mean, I thought he had some pretty good at-bats from the right side this last road trip.
So Pablo retired here. And now Michael Morse grounded out to short his first time. At the knees for a strike. Morse, who used to play in the National League East with the Washington Nationals, 3 for 16 lifetime against Nice. All 3 of his hits have been doubles. Over the outside, and it's 0-2.
Now, Nice has slowed things down a little bit with Posey at first base, but with nobody on, he works a quick pace, very similar to the pace that Cain is working. And that really, when you have a pitcher working the same rhythm that you're working, it can help a pitcher.
Tejada gets 1, 2, a double play. And the inning has ended. 1 hit for the Giants, nobody left. Curtis Granderson will be coming up against Cain.
Ford right choice for high quality and great MPG. Ford is the right choice for California. Madison Bumgarner yesterday, 8 innings strong, 3 hits allowed, 1 earned run, no walks, 5 strikeouts, 106 pitches. Third straight start with 7+ innings pitched, 1 or few runs allowed, 3 or few hits allowed, and he had 5 strikeouts yesterday. The previous 2 games he had 10 in each game. He is on a roll, and that is our Ford right choice. Madison Bumgarner, the National League Pitcher of the Month in May.
First chance to do that was Rube Marquard, 1911. Here's Granderson, and that changeup is low for ball 1.
See, now that's a game. That's a name that's sort of fallen by the wayside. I don't know any Rubes today.
Rube. The Mets used to have a bullpen coach or bullpen catcher, Rube Walker, hitting instructor. Whatever.
Yeah.
There's the ball too low, 2-0. Rube Marquard was a great Giants pitcher on the same staff with Iron Man McGinnity. See, not many guys named Iron Man nowadays either. Christy Mathewson. And that's back out of play.
I mean, there's Rube tomorrow. I mean, I guess you could call him Rube.
Hey, Rube. N.
I don't know.
Granderson. Been a very powerful hitter over the years. Giants had the shift on for him. Just off the outside at 3-1. There you see the 3 infielders to the right of second. And Hicks is well out into right field.
Totally give the left field line too, with Juan Perez pulled over towards the left center field gap.
Just off the inside, I guess. That was a close one, and Cain thought he had a strike. That's the first base runner for the Mets.
Bruce Bochy not happy about it. And this will be the very first time tonight that Cain gets into a stretch. Here's the 3-1 pitch. That would have been a pitcher strike. I think Rob Drake has had pretty big corners tonight, more than we normally see from him. That time, Giants didn't get the corner call.
Here's Andrew Brown, and that's a strike.
Yeah, no ill effects of taking a long time to get in the stretch. And normally, if you go 4 innings before you get into the stretch, at times a pitcher will have a problem getting location back down around the knees. 3 or 4 pitches might be bell high and above. There's a little vulnerability till he gets his release point out of the stretch. That last pitch said no problem for Cain.
0-2. Blew that one right by Andrew Brown, who hit one onto the warning track in left field toward the left field corner that was caught right in front of the cars by Perez back in the 2nd inning. 0-2. That was in a scenario where Cain had fallen behind in the count. Brown got a pitch to hit. Now he's way behind in the count. 0-2.
Here's the 3-1 slider again to Granderson. And watch Cain, the reaction like, wait, that was there. Cain seriously wanted it. Rob Drake's going, it's inside. You're killing the drill here.
Granderson at first, nobody out. Hicks, here's one to first. A double play. Got him anyway.
See the pitches by inning for Cain, and he has been very stingy. 13 in the first, 10, 11, 9. He's got 9 so far here in the 5th. And pitching coaches want you to be between 71 and 75 pitches at the end of 5 innings, so he's well ahead of the norm in pitch count.
Duda, dangerous. Big, strong left-handed hitter, 6 feet 4 inches tall. 8 home runs. He's the Mets home run leader so far this year. He lined out to Morse's first time. The Giants had the shift on for him. That's 1 ball and 1 strike.
Again, you see that there's a lot of room over here in the left field line. They bunch the gaps on both sides of the field, and then they bring the defense in the infield overlaid to the right side. And, you know, it really is a dangerous defense to put on in this type of a game because you can see that Giants pitching has not had a base runner on base by way of the base hit yet. So it is enticing, I would have to believe, to Duda.
3-1. Duda has been getting a lot of walks. Not hitting well for average in the 240s, 241 at the moment. Now it's 3-2.
Every time he's had to make a pitch, and he did it in the 1-0 count, the same at bat with Duda. He nailed that outside corner with 93-mile-an-hour sink. And when you could do that, neutralize a fastball count with a fastball because of location, you made a great pitch.
2 down, nobody on. Right to Morse. Into the defense. Inning over. Man, did he smoke that ball. 5 hitless innings for Matt Cain.
We like to talk about Giants history. You've got both. This date in Giants history, June 6, 2006, Jason Schmidt struck out 16 Marlins right here at AT&T Park. His stellar performance tied a franchise record set in 1904 by Christy Mathewson, who also recorded 16 strikeouts for the New York Giants. John, Mike?
All right, Amy G with the history, the long storied history of the Giants. There's a thread that runs down through the decades and from one century and back to another and another. Perez with a quick 0-2 count facing Jonathan Neese here in the last of the 5th.
I really like watching Jason Schmidt pitch. I mean, those are games I look forward to. He was a great Giant. And boy, when he was on, he was something to watch.
And a great trade involving Ryan Vogelsong. That's too high. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Vogelsong went to Pittsburgh, and really nothing ever went right for him in Pittsburgh.
Well, he was a young pitcher, and he was figuring things out. Then he got hurt. Had Tommy John surgery, and it just never did happen for him. But the Giants, the benefactor, because they got Vogelsong back when he was the finished product and he knew how to pitch.
That's the truly amazing part of the whole story. Because he got hurt early on in his time with the Pirates. Stays alive. 2-2.
You know, he doesn't have a bad word to say about Pittsburgh. You know, he said, I gave it my best shot. He says, people there, I had a lot of good things happen to me there. I met my wife there. So he says it was all good. I don't hear him say many bad things about anything anywhere, but we're glad he's here.
Right past Tim Flannery. 2-2 to Perez.
Far ball, dude. Max Hosmer. Max, I was betting on you. You look at the other ball dude, Jim Vermees. He was digging it. Horse laughing his buddy.
There's David Wright. And he just got him. One away. Giants baseball is brought to you in part by the Dodge Challenger. Visit Dodge.com or your local dealer today. See the nautical craft out in it. Looks like the beer can regatta was going tonight. The finish line is the entrance to McCovey Cove. We have kayakers out there. A lot of traffic in the Cove on this Friday night. Hicks, deep left center. Decker still going back. No. Hicks is going for 3. Tejada with the relay throw. A triple.
One thing you're going to see Tim Flannery do in this series, and he will challenge these Met outfielders because he doesn't think they have great arms. They set up in the inside corner, and Hicks stays inside it. And with the south wind that the Surfers of Montaro love blowing here tonight, you're getting carry. And this thing just gets over the head of Decker, who has got great range. And here's where Flannery takes the gamble. He brings him over. And then when it's all settled, that's a big 90 feet.
So it's a scoreless game. There's Flannery alongside Hicks. The Mets infield comes in. Crawford. That's just foul. Just barely foul. Right on top of the line there was Joe West to make the call. Bit of bad luck there for Brandon Crawford.
And how foul was it? See Joe West looking right at it. Foul by a foot.
Clearly foul.
Loud strike though.
No score in the game in the 5th inning. The Giants with the runner at third. The first runner to get to third for either team tonight. A ball and a strike. Matt Cain, the pitcher, is on deck.
This is a pure strikeout situation for Nice. And Brandon Crawford knows the deal. He's looking for something up that he can get in the outfield deep enough to score Hicks. Hicks runs well. And with the arms that they have, especially in right field, Granderson does not have a good arm at all. It's not going to take more than a medium fly ball to score Hicks.
2-1.
Close. Nice wanted it.
Nice has 2 strikeouts so far tonight. Crawford has the second most sacrifice flies behind Miguel Montero of the D-backs. Medium left, Brown tagging at third to Hicks. Brown's got it. Here comes Hicks. The throw, the slide, the run. The Giants are leading. And there just was not a whole lot on that throw, which the Giants, Tim Flannery already knew.
It's a great at bat. Watch the celebration he's going to receive when he gets back to that Giants dugout. And this is a pure situational at bat, and he executed beautifully. And with Hicks' speed, that's all they needed. In fact, Flannery, I think, made him anchor down a little bit more at third base to make sure that he didn't leave early, which he did not.
You see the throw actually hits him. It's a good way.
He got him in the foot.
And hit Matt Cain in the foot. But Brandon Hicks made sure there was no play on him. As sort of inadvertently he made sure the throw hit him.
Well, they're going to argue this. They got Cain in the right foot, it looked like. Right towards the toe. And they're going to see on a review if indeed that was the case.
Well, Joe West is coming over, the crew chief.
It's the right foot. Got him in the toe. Absolutely. The ball changed course. That's the right toe. He got him.
Well, Joe West came over, and Bruce Bochy was already walking away from home plate at that time. And so they're going to go.
Rod Drake started heading back down the first base line. The replay stuff is right here by the on-deck circle of the visitor side.
So first time in for this crew, I guess. And they weren't familiar with where the headphones were kept. The gear to be in contact with the replay command center in Lower Manhattan in New York City. Well, this will not take long, I don't think. This is going to be one of those real short reviews, and then Matt Cain will go to first base.
Watch the ball chain course. It goes into the toe of Cain and then kicks away abruptly. Clearly he hits his foot, so he's going to get a base out of this. I just hope he doesn't get a broken toe. Doesn't look like he's hurting too much. He does have a toe piece there to protect his shoe, and maybe that helped in protecting the toe as well.
Okay, here comes the signal. You go to first. I can't believe that not one umpire on the field saw that ball go a completely different direction. I mean, how else would it go a different direction if it didn't hit Matt Cain's foot?
Now, the guy who probably would have the best look at it would be Pat Holberg, the second base umpire. I don't think it would be as easy for the third base or first base umpires to get it. Cowboy Joe West broke in 1977. He is the crew chief.
He's the dean, isn't he?
He is the dean. He's had more years than any active umpire in the game today.
So Pagan with Cain at first and 2 down. Pagan has lined out to center and struck out on a curveball. Chuano. Dodgers still lead the Rockies 6-2 on the out-of-town scoreboard. Last of the 8th in Denver. Brian Wilson has come on in relief for LA in that game in the 8th. David Wright, nice pickup, and he gets the force out on Cain with Murphy covering at second. The Giants get a run. Hicks triple and the sacrifice fly by Crawford. 1-0 Giants.
Our Modelo break of the game brought to you by Modelo Especial. Discover the Especial. We go back to the 2000 NLDS Game 2. Mets, Giants, and JT Snow's 3-run pinch hit home run off Armando Benitez would tie the ball game. And Dusty Baker and 41,000 others going crazy. What a great memory. Saw JT Snow today. He was at the ballpark. And he hasn't changed a whole lot since 2000.
Well, that was a great postseason moment in the very first postseason ever staged here at AT&T Park. That was the first year of the ballpark. There's a lot of history written here, of course, since then, and this is the 15th year of the ballpark. A lot of history has been packed into those 15 seasons. Ruben Tejada, 7th place hitter, struck out looking his first time. That's out of play. Strike one. 1 run, 4 hits for the Giants. The Mets have no runs and no hits so far against Matt Cain.
Tejada, get in the box. Killing me here. This is unbelievable. Imagine what this guy would be if he was a 330 hitter. That was just a little message from Cain. Like, speed it up. That was much better. Nice little message there from Cain.
From shallow left field, and there's no chance on this play. Tejada runs fairly well. That's the first hit of the game for the Mets. And the fans, realizing that, applaud the outstanding performance by Cain so far.
Infield single. There wasn't a whole lot that Crawford could do. Tejada just runs too well for him to take the time to set his feet. He was going to have to be on the run. And I'm not even sure what kind of a grip he had on it. And I don't think he had very much of a grip at all. So he winds up throwing a circle changeup over there. Really not a bad changeup.
Here is Darno on 1. Travis Darno, who fouled out to Buster Posey back in the 3rd. He's 0 for 1. 1-0. The Giants leading in the 6th inning. The Giants just scored here in the last of the 5th inning. This is the second time the Mets have gotten a man on base. The first time was Granderson walking to lead off the 5th inning. The next hitter, Brown, promptly grounded into a double play. So we'll see if Cain can make history repeat itself here. Tejada leads away from first. Morse on the bag with him. One and 2. 7:05 first pitch tomorrow night at AT&T Park. This is a sort of an unusual starting time for a Saturday game here. Tim Hudson, second best earned run average in the National League for the Giants, up against Bartolo Colon. 2-2 in the day game on Sunday. Lincecum versus Zach Wheeler. And on Monday, the Nationals come in. The team is starting to show signs of putting things together. The Zimmermans were in the lineup for the same time for the first time in a while a couple of days ago. Well, this could be 2. Hicks the second one. Crawford over to first. Double play. The Mets have put 2 men on base, and each time the runner ended up being wiped out on a double play ball.
And that's not coincidental. That's a pitcher that knows how to pitch for the ground ball. It's sort of a half defensive swing from Darno. And Hicks and Crawford do the rest. 4-6. Grab some time.
Now Nice, 2 down, nobody on. Nice struck out looking his first time. Strike 1. Braves and D-backs playing in Arizona 2-2. The D-backs is starting to come alive now. They just swept the series in Colorado. He almost swung at that one. Almost fell over, too. Did he swing? No. Says the third base umpire, Marty Foster. Nationals lead the Padres 2-0, top of the 6th in San Diego. Well, did he swing? What do you think?
I didn't think he did. He almost broke 2 ankles, though.
He didn't swing, but he's lucky to be alive.
Well, we see some strange things when pitchers take hacks and miss.
And then there's trying not to take a hack. Right there at the knees on the outside. 2-2.
And that swing that Dan Runzer took in Milwaukee hurt his knee, put him on the disabled list for a long time.
Two and two the count. Crawford. And that's the inning. Cain has still faced a minimum number of hitters through 6 innings. Giants lead 1-0. Pence, Posey, Pablo coming up. Rat Pack night here at AT&T Park. There's a special event package, including a collector's edition Giants Bat Pack t-shirt inspired by the iconic image from the Rat Pack era outside the Sands Hotel in Vegas. It also gets you a ticket to see the Giants and the Nats. Arrive early as family members of the Rat Pack will be participating in on-field pregame activities. You'll need the special event package to get the entire panorama at sfgiants.com/special events for your Rat Pack tickets. That's Wednesday the 11th. Hunter Pence and Nice Kurtzman for a strike.
He's locked up a lot of Giants hitters with that big slow curveball. And the only one who's really waited for it, done anything with it, is Posey. And he went 2-strike count. And he did that in the 4th inning with his last at bat.
Pence has popped to short, grounded a second. Tejada. He got him by a step. 1 away.
Giants Baseball is brought to you in part by McDonald's. Download the McD app on your smartphone for great deals on the food you love at participating McDonald's.
Buster Posey now, who has singled twice. The Giants have only 4 hits in the game, and Buster has 2 of them, and Brandon Hicks has the other 2. Hicks has scored the only run of the game after a triple in the 5th inning. Crawford knocked him in with a fly ball. And it's ball 1 to Buster Posey. Two and 0. Buster with his 2 hits tonight. now has a career record of 6 hits, 14 at bats versus Nice. This time Tejada's got it, and Posey is retired. So 2 ground outs to shortstop to start the inning, and now Pablo Sandoval will come up. Dodgers lead the Rockies 6-2. They've gone to the 9th inning now in Denver. Rockies have lost 7 in a row.
Now they've got a couple of significant injuries with Carlos Gonzalez out and Nolan Arenado out. Those are hard hits to take.
Pablo has grounded out and flied out. Ball 1. Rockies have not been hitting. Even coming home, they have not hit much on this homestand, except when they did hit, then they gave up 1,000,000 runs. They lost to the D-backs the other night 16-8, and then lost 12-7 the next day. One ball, 1 strike to Pablo Sandoval, who is 0 for 2 against Nice. Back there in the entrance to the big part of the yard, Granderson takes it to end the inning. 3 up, 3 down. Top of the order, Dendecker, Murphy, and Wright coming up against Cain.
Brandon Belt, who had the pin successfully removed from his thumb today. He was injured on May 9th, and he had the pins inserted on May 13th. Head athletic trainer David Greshner told me this week they work on range of motion, and hopefully in a week he's going to be gripping a baseball. Gentlemen?
All right, Amy, thanks for the news.
I mean, that was a pretty gnarly thing if you saw it. I mean, the pins were actually sticking out of his skin about an 1/8 of an inch on both sides of his thumb where they put him in. It was gnarly looking.
I asked him if he was going to be put under for the procedure. He said, no. I said, well, are you going to watch it or are you going to look away? He says, no, I'm going to watch it, although I probably will wish that I didn't. Strike 1 to Dendecker, who has twice grounded out against Matt Cain. He's the leadoff man. Cain has faced the minimum number of hitters, 18, through 6 innings. 2 Mets have reached, one on a walk and one with an infield hit, but each was subsequently wiped out on a double play ball. Daniel Murphy is on deck, then David Wright. And the inside strike 2 call.
Nice 2-pitch sequence. A lot of corner strikes tonight from Cain on both sides of the plate. But that's a perfect 0-2 pitch. He takes two-seam movement, moves it in the outside corner, and misses off the plate about 4 inches. That's a paralysis fastball. A lot of guys will feel they have to cover that. Umpires at times will call a strike. Sets up a lot of pitches.
Down the left field line. That is a fair ball. And it will go through into the corner. A double for Dendecker as Perez gets it back in.
That's a pretty impressive at bat right there. That was not a hanger. Remember the movement that they brought off the plate in a 2-strike count. They missed it 1-2. Here they tried to backdoor the little wraparound slider. And that was right there on the corner. And Dendecker doing a nice job of defending the strike zone, going the opposite way, which is really the only thing he could do to beat that pitch. He had to go to left. And just like that, the Mets get themselves speed in scoring position with nobody out to lead things off here in the 7th.
He is the possible tying run with nobody out. And 2 veterans coming up. 2 very good hitters. Starting with Daniel Murphy, David Wright on deck.
Be careful. You have to watch Dendecker. He'll steal.
Murphy has grounded out to second and been called out on strikes.
This is a pure strikeout situation for Cain, and not an easy guy to strike out.
That ball is hit deep. Hence just turns and looks. Gone, a home run. And the Mets have a 2-1 lead here in the 7th. Fourth home run this year for Daniel Murphy.
Yeah, and a 1-0 breaking ball. You're going to bite off a little more strike zone in a 1-0 count when you throw the breaking ball. And it's right out there middle in and around mid-thigh. No stride for Murphy, just a good hitter. Got a real light grip, heavy head on that bat, and this thing just backspins right out of here. Home run number 4 for Murphy. And for the first time tonight, the Mets lead.
Called a strike. First time that Murphy has ever hit a home run against Matt Cain. And he is pretty happy about it, as you can see. Strike 2 call.
Gutierrez very quickly heading down the Giants bullpen. Next pitch for Cain will be number 80. Remember, he's been on the disabled list, so he will lose a little arm strength.
A bloop along the right field line. Penn speeding over. Ran out of room there and went into a slide to avoid injuring himself.
That's the best way to protect yourself. Just go into a slide. Well, his fans love it. Broadcasters love it. Everybody loves it.
He really hustled. The stance come out very close to the field there. There's some risk. 1-2 to right. Wright was beamed by Matt Cain. What was that, maybe 4 years ago?
I guarantee David Wright could tell you the day and the time of day.
That's a foul. It was a horrifying moment. David Wright was taken to the hospital.
And he missed some time with it. I think he's got one of the best pure swings in baseball.
He's flied out to shallow right and lined out to right in this game. 0 for 2. 2-2.
Nothing like that. Got underneath it.
Well, this is Cain's first outing in 16 days. A foul down the right field line.
Well, and when you go inactive for that long, and he couldn't do much because he had the hamstring problem on his right leg, and that's your drive leg. I mean, you could play catch, but you're going to lose arm strength when you're not cutting loose off the mound. And when you get back active, it's going to take a while to get back up to that 100 pitch plus level where you like your starters to be.
Well, this is turning into quite a battle. This will be the 9th pitch to right. Pablo. That's the first out of the inning. Fans, now it's time for the City of Livermore getaway of the game, brought to you by the City of Livermore. Enjoy shopping, entertainment, dining, and wine tasting in the City of Livermore. There is so much to do. Curtis Granderson, the cleanup man. Check swing. Ball too low. Granderson was the first Met to reach base when he drew a leadoff walk in the 5th inning. Although he was then wiped out on a double play ball hit by the next batter. 2-0. Granderson was a real home run threat. He's hit 6 home runs for the Mets, but he had 43 homers the year before last with the Yankees and 41 the year before that. He had 30 home runs his last year in Detroit in 2009. 3-0.
And he will swing 3-0, especially against a strike thrower like Cain.
Andrew Brown on deck. And it's 3-1. Anderson and Cain have never before faced each other in a big league game prior to tonight. Right to Pence. 2 down. So Javier Lopez heading down to the Giants bullpen to join the right-hander Gutierrez. Lopez the lefty. Mark Gardner, the bullpen coach, down there with the two of them. And now Gardner told him, no, he got Granderson. You can stop. There's another lefty after Brown, and that's Duda.
Once asked Scott Garrelts, how do you warm up if you're in the bullpen? He says, well, when you get the call, manager says get up, I start throwing it as hard as I can until he tells me to either come into a game or sit down. And that's your deal. He says, once I get heated, I'll back off and I'll save my throws. But until I get ready, until I establish that fastball and feel like I'm loose, I'm going as hard as I can.
Two 2-0 the count to Andrew Brown. 3-0.
A lot of counts where he's created opportunity for hitters in this inning. Definitely showing some signs of fatigue, which is why Dave Righetti and Bochy have the bullpen going. They're not going to let him get hurt here. He's pitched beautifully tonight.
It's a strike, 3-1. Brown has hit one deep to left for an out and grounded into a double play. Righetti alongside manager Bruce Bochy. Surely talking about Matt Cain. Duda, the left-handed hitter, is on deck. Right back to Cain. I think he broke his bat on that one. But the Mets get 2 runs, and they have the lead in the middle of the 7th. Morse coming up for the Giants.
Murphy's new fresh pan pizza, love at 425 degrees. And Michael Morse is hot. Let's take a look at his home run heat map, and he'll tell you where he likes it. He likes the ball middle away. Understandably, a guy 6'5", he likes the ball out of the plate. However, he likes them inside too, and he likes them up. In fact, he likes them down. Right now, he just likes them in the strike zone. That's our Papa Murphy's Who's Hot.
And he is, of course, a guy capable of being a one-man rally. The Giants are down by a run. Nice. And there is David Wright. And that's 3 ground ball outs tonight versus Nice for Michael Morse. For the first time, the Mets bullpen has sprung into action. A left-hander and a right-hander warming up for New York as Juan Perez comes to the plate. Called a strike.
And that really isn't a changeup. It's kind of that speed between a changeup and a fastball. Other guys call it a batting practice fastball.
That ball is smoked foul. Perez had a great week in New York last year when the Giants had their final road trip, including this RBI hit against Jonathan Nice in mid-September, knocking in Hector Sanchez.
Yeah, I think the Giants would like to see him use right field a little bit more, and that's kind of his key. He's been a little too pull happy since he's been back up in the big leagues. When you see him hitting the opposite gap, then he's a whole different hitter.
His flight out to right center tonight and grounded out to third. 1 out, nobody on. 0-2. Struck him out.
Well, download the Giants official mobile app at the ballpark. This is a must-have free app for Giants fans when visiting AT&T Park. From your mobile device, the app will allow you to upgrade your seat, listen to players' walk-up music, find the closest garlic fry stand, check in to unlock special offers, and much, much more. Visit sfgiants.com/ballpark app, or you can text ballpark to 31826 to download at the ballpark now.
Curveball misses, ball 1 to Matt Hicks, who's hit a double and a triple against Nice in this game. He has scored the Giants' only run. A ball and a strike.
Yeah, he has definitely seen Nice well. But he's also made some adjustments tonight in his swing. He's using the opposite field. First at bat, the double off the wall and right, then he went off the wall and center.
Two and 1. The Mets have the right-hander in their bullpen, Yoris Familia, and a left-hander, Josh Edgen, warming up. The Giants just sent Jeremy Affeldt down to their bullpen in left field. He helped him on that one. 2-2. It would have been 3-1. Here's the possible tying run. Looked like he was trying to tie it up. This one bounces well in front of home plate. Full count. Brandon Crawford is on deck. There is Affeldt getting ready in the Giants bullpen. Crawford on deck, and then the pitcher spot after him. The Giants get something going here. Affeldt warming up, by the way, on his birthday. And it's a walk.
It's 3 good at-bats tonight for Hicks.
First walk allowed by Nice, and here comes Dan Warthen, the pitching coach, to the mound with Crawford getting ready to bat. Nice has had a very strong game. He's allowed just the 1 run. He's got a 2-1 lead here in the 7th. Monterey Bay Aquarium, what's in the water? Brought to you by the Monterey Bay Aquarium. Share the awe, share the love.
at MontereyBayAquarium.org/love. What is that out there in the water?
I do not want to get in the water to find out. That looks like it could eat me.
So here is Crawford, who has driven in the Giants' only run of the game. Hicks at first. High and foul down the right field line. And well down the line all the way to the bricks.
Crawford has hit some bullets to the foul side of first baseline tonight. Jonathan Neese has really been on a roll. I mean, he's allowed 3 runs or less in 15 straight starts, and that's the longest current streak in the majors. Started last August 2013.
Check swing. It's a ball and a strike.
It's just a consistent arm, and a lot of people believe he is the ace of this staff.
Duda on the bag at first with Hicks. And now Hicks will go to second and into scoring position, free of charge on the wild pitch.
I think that ball just cut on Darno, and I don't think that he expected that movement. It fooled him. Set up an inside corner, and this thing just sails on him on the outside part of the plate. It's going to be a wild pitch, but he asked Darno. He'll tell you he probably should have caught it.
So that's a break. Now a base hit could tie the game. That foul will go out of play on the third base side. Crawford, who knocked in 3 yesterday in Cincinnati, has knocked in the only Giants run tonight. And he's trying to cut through here with the big chew-out hit to tie this game. He's got 30 RBIs this year. Up the middle, base hit into center field, and here comes Hicks. This game is tied up. And the roll continues for Brandon Crawford. 5 RBIs in 2 days for Crawford.
And it really has been the signature at bat for this Giants offense in 2014. What they have done with 2 outs and runners in scoring position is remarkable. Over 48% of their runs scored in this scenario. And look at the reaction from the bench.
Giants have scored more 2-out runs than any team in the majors. Pinch hitter Joaquin Arias batting for Matt Cain. 2-2 the score. Then Decker over in right center, the big part of the yard, plenty of room, and that's all for Arias. But the Giants trying to walk a wild pitch and a single into the tying run. And we go to the 8th. Investigative reporter Tony Kowaleski. They're an award-winning team of 15 journalists dedicated to holding the powerful accountable. The investigative unit on NBC Bay Area. They investigate. Toe the line, Mike.
Okay, I'm doing it. I'm towing that line. Right now, Jeremy Affeldt is going to toe the rubber for Bruce Bochy. 22nd time that he has come in, 0-1 with a 1.47 ERA. He's had a nice first half.
Affeldt turning 35 years old today. Happy birthday. Duda, ball one. The Giants bullpen is busy behind Affeldt with the right-hander Machi warming up. The Mets also have action in their bullpen. Duda has lined out to first and grounded out to first. And that's a swing. 1-1.
Good sinking fastball, which is what makes Affeldt unique. I mean, he is the guy that is most likely to get a ground ball in that Giants bullpen. And that's from lefties and righties. Got the big curve to go with it and the forkball. Or split.
Two and one. Nice evening for Matt Cain, although he may not be happy about the seventh inning. And he truly seemed to be fading a little bit after having not pitched for 16 days. In fact, he'd only thrown 3 innings 16 days ago, the last time he did pitch.
Well, he was spectacular tonight. And you know, it was not an easy thing for him to be patient because, as we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, he really found a mechanical thing in his motion that really got him back on track. I mean, his velocity was fantastic tonight. His location was pristine. His movement was spectacular. So, nice return for Matt Cain.
And that curveball is strike 3 called to Duda.
Let's take a look at some of what Matt Cain did tonight. And we talk about the command, and there's a breaking ball, and he had all pitches going. Two-seam fastball. He wrapped around the outside corner with sliders. Cut the ball when he wanted to. His changeup was as good as we've seen it all year. Just pitched beautifully. Welcome back.
Ruben Tejada, who has been called out on strikes, and he got the first Mets hit, an infield hit to shortstop in the 6th inning. The curve for a called strike.
That's a great way to steal strike one. When he gets a feel of that pitch, I mean, nobody's going to look for that thing first pitch. Flop it over. Boom. Quick advantage. 0-1.
Into center field, a base hit. He jumped ahead of him, and then Tejada gets a clean single to center. 1 out, 1 on. For comprehensive coverage of everything orange and black, check out Pregame Live and Postgame Live before and after every Giants telecast on Comcast Sportsnet. Authentic Bay Area sports. Travis d'Arnaud. Mets have a runner at first with 1 out. Mets have Carlos Torres, a right-hander, warming up in their bullpen with the pitcher due up next. d'Arnaud has fouled to the catcher and grounded into a double play. Tejada back to the bag.
Carlos Torres, the right-hander, getting heated up for New York.
Right-handed hitting Chris Young has come out on the on-deck circle for the Mets. Strike 1. Here's Young from the Arizona Diamondback. He was with Oakland last year. 2-2, 8th inning. Pablo to second. 1. Hicks to first. 2. A double play. Third double play turned by the Giants tonight.
Top of the order coming up. Pagan, Pence, Posey. Day, and then more today. The Giants took Tyler Beede with their first selection out of Vanderbilt University. 14th overall pick, 6 feet 4 inches tall. Tyler Beede, who averaged so far this year 9.7 strikeouts per 9 innings. In the second round, the Giants took a catcher out of Florida International University, Aramis Garcia, a junior, hitting .368 with 8 homers and 37 RBIs. And you see the rest of the names. Dylan Davis, and a right fielder out of Oregon State. A high school pitcher, Logan Webb, from Rockland High School here in California with the 4th round. Sam Coonrod out of Southern Illinois. Who do we know? A good friend of ours who went to Southern Illinois, who was a Saluki.
Well, that would be Dwayne Kuiper and Taira Uematsu.
So there's some of the Skylar Ewing, the first baseman out of Rice, Seth Harrison out of the University of Louisiana Lafayette, Austin Slater, who is out of Stanford in the 8th round. Here's Carlos Torres, Chris Young now at left field. The Mets make a double switch as they bring Torres in. The Giants have the top of the order. Pagan, Pence, Posey, Pablo due 4th. They get somebody on. Pagan is lined out to center, struck out and grounded out into a force play in the dirt.
Carlos Torres, the Aptos High School graduated in 2000, and he really is having a nice season for the Mets. When you take your bats off, and you're going to see a fastball that'll go low to mid 90s. He's got sink, he's got cut, big curveball, slider, and a changeup. 31 years old in his 2nd year of the big leagues.
Chumado.
So I have to believe that he's got a pretty good pass list tonight.
I would expect so. 3-0. And that could take you out of your game a little bit.
Oh, it absolutely can. Got enough family friends in the stands. This is a playoff game in your mind.
That was too high.
Well, get up to the minute you're up with Today in the Bay. See breaking news, your microclimate weather forecast, or real-time traffic. Watch Today in the Bay weekdays starting at 4:30 a.m. here on NBC Bay Area.
Hunter Pence coming up now. So Pagan gets the walk from the graduate of Aptos High School, Carlos Torres. Pence has popped to short and twice grounded out. He's 0 for 3. 2-2, last of the 8th. Of course, Pagan leads the Giants in steals. Oh man, he had a big rip at that one.
That's a good pitch to hit. Torres going at it with the first pitch cut, and it was right out there at the belt. And of late, I mean about the last 3 weeks, Hunter Pence has been punishing location mistakes, and that was a location mistake. He just missed it.
Murphy gets the out at first, and Pagan has been moved up.
So, at the very least, a productive out. And the Giants get a runner in scoring position with 1 out here for Posey. And he's had great at-bats tonight.
So in a spot where a base hit could put them ahead. Mets have more activity in their bullpen. The left-hander Josh Edgen warming up. Buster, 2 singles and a ground ball to short. They're playing him to pull. Just missing. That was a close one.
Carlos Torres looked long and hard in at Rob Drake, the plate umpire. He thought he should have had that pitch. We've seen a call to strike tonight.
Shortstop Tejada pulled over into the hole toward third. Deep into left center field. Really hit. Still going. Goodbye. A 2-run homer for Buster Posey. The tie is broken. The Giants are on top 4-2. Hit of the night for Buster Posey, and his 8th home run this year.
That felt great. Torres came back to him in a 1-0 count with the same movement he threw on the first pitch of the at-bat, and Posey made him pay.
And a called strike to Pablo.
And I'll tell you another thing about Posey. He was looking for it. One of the smarter hitters in the game. And he will look for a 1-pitch advantage. And he'll think with you, he'll guess with you, he'll look pitch, he'll look location, and he got exactly what he's looking for.
Pablo into left field. Chris Young just into the game to play left field as part of a double switch in this inning. Out number 2.
Just a little lazy cutter. Maybe a slider that didn't have a lot of break to it. He knew he had to get in the strike zone in a 1-0 count. And he really didn't have to with an open first base. And here's the result. Posey looked for it, got it, and unloaded.
No cheapie that part of this yard, that's for sure. Ball 1 to Morris. That was the 69th home run hit by the Giants this year. Morris has grounded out 3 times. All 3 of his at-bats have been against the starting pitcher, Jonathan Neese. Giants tied it up in the last of the 7th. Now a base hit to center for Michael Morris. Murphy did a nice job just to knock it down, but despite his best efforts, still a base hit for Morris.
Let's watch the 1-0 count. A little lazy breaking ball that Buster Posey absolutely nuts. And the reaction from the boys, digging it. I don't think he's going to shave anytime soon. That goat's got 3 hits in it.
And a foul by Perez as Romo continues to heat up for the 9th inning. It is a save situation now. 4-2 Giants. 2 down, and a runner at first, rather. Morris at first. And this whole thing started with a leadoff walk to Pagan. Juan Perez is flied out to right center, grounded to third, and struck out. Pop fly. Granderson. No! They'll have to chase it. And Morris will be held at third as the ball was retrieved. Great hustle there by Daniel Murphy, who went well out into right field to make sure that Morris did not try and score.
Well, you're right. That saved a run. You can see how deep towards right center Granderson was, and then he did not break towards the ball directly. He broke to his left a couple of steps, and even his speed at the end could not make up for the pop-up. And just as you pointed out, the hustle from Daniel Murphy saved a run. He was right out there backing it up. You see Flannery bringing Morris across, and come on, and at the last minute red flagged him.
Well, the big hit of the night had been Hicks as the cutter, a swinging strike. Hicks, who doubled in the second, tripled in the fifth, and scored the Giants' first run. Then he walked and scored a run in the seventh, which scored the Giants' only runs in the game until this inning. Now base hit can break it open. A ball and a strike. The left-handed hitting Brandon Crawford is on deck. First base is empty. A left-hander edging up in the bullpen. Buster Posey with the long home run to left center here in the eighth, breaking the tie. And that drops in there. Called strike two.
It's a good curveball. Definitely something that Hicks was not looking for.
High and foul. Off to the right, out of play.
And in a 1-2 count and open base, that slider was a little lazy. It caught a lot of strike zone. Torres has definitely made some mistakes at location. He's paid for it this inning.
Base hit could make the Giants very comfortable here. With Morse at third, Perez at second. Pence, who had the productive out earlier in this inning after the leadoff walk to Pagan, got the Giants going. 2-2. Pagan walked. Pence moved him over to second with a ground out, and then Buster Posey launched one. A long homer deep into left center. And the inning is over. But Buster Posey tells one bye-bye baby, as Russ Hodges used to say. 4-2 Giants onto the ninth. And Romo
Central every night at 10:30. Comcast Sportsnet, authentic Bay Area sports. 4-2, the Giants are leading. Giants getting 3 of their 4 runs in the 7th and 8th innings. Now Sergio Romo, who has 18 saves this year, will try and secure this one.
Good numbers. 26th time he's come in.
Chris Young up for the first time after entering in left field in the last of the 8th and the 9th spot in the order. And it's 0-1. And Young, having been in the division, he's seen Romo more often than most of the Mets. It did not help him on that first pitch, though. 0-1 the count. High and foul. Morris, but it's into the crowd. Young is 1 for 5 with 1 strikeout against Romo. Lifetime. 0-2 the count. Leadoff man Dendecker is on deck, and then Daniel Murphy due up third, and David Wright fourth. So if they get some people out here, the Mets will give it their best shot. Their best hitters would be coming up. 0-2 to Chris Young. Hitting .197. He took it. 1-2. Young does have 4 home runs. Only a .293 on base average. There was a time when it looked like he might be a star with the Diamondbacks, but he was never able to sustain anything, and his production went down and down. Popped up. Morris giving chase, and that one is out of play.
He's always had a couple of holes in his swing he hasn't been able to plug up. I mean, he's got as much power as anybody in the field. We've seen him hit monumental home runs when he was with the Diamondbacks.
Giants infield playing into pull. The shortstop Crawford well over into the hole toward third. You see how they're set up. The outfield is straight away. Foul ball right past third base coach Tim Tuffle. Dodgers won their game in Colorado 7-2. Back of Hyunjin Ryu. Eddie Butler in his first major league game, one of the top prospects in the Rockies farm system, beaten by LA at Coors Field tonight. 8 straight losses for the Rockies. Atlanta now with a 4-2 lead over Arizona, top of the 9th in Arizona. Romo ready to try it again. There is Perez. 1 away.
Such a relief when you're coming out of bullpen to get the first strike, and then, of course, to get the first out. It just relaxes everything.
Leadoff man Matt Dendecker comes up. Dendecker, the only time the Mets got through to Matt Cain in the 7th inning, Dendecker led off the inning with a double to left, and then Murphy, the next hitter, hit a 2-run homer. The only runs allowed by Cain, who in 7 innings allowed just 3 hits. Strike 1. Dendecker, a couple of ground outs, and then that double down the left field line in the 7th. Giants have Morse at first, Hicks at second, Crawford at short, Pablo at third. An outfield of Perez in left, Pagan in center, Pence in right. Buster Posey back of the plate here in the 9th. That one tails away. And a changeup, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike.
Changeups and 2-seam fastballs. I mean, he likes to throw those to left-handed hitters. He likes to throw 4-seam fastballs, and of course his no-dot slider to the right-handed hitters.
Right back to Romo. 2 down.
2 down in the ninth. The Giants ahead 4-2, and here comes Murphy. So close, and yet, if Murphy gets aboard, then it would be David Wright, the Mets' biggest star, and he would come up as the possible tying run. So close, but not there just yet. Murphy hit a 2-run homer his last time, and Romo's only faced him twice and never gotten him out in the past. That should end right here. Hicks throws him out. The Giants have won it. The Giants come home from a successful road trip, and they come from behind in the late innings and beat the Mets 4-2. And a save for Romo, his 19th this year, and a win for Jeremy Affeldt. No win again for Matt Cain, but he was superb.
He really was superb, and Giants have to feel real happy with what they saw from Cain, because there's always concern when you're talking about a guy's legs, and a hamstring injury is a serious injury for a pitcher.
4-2, the Giants over the New York Mets. Game 1 of the series, game 1 of the homestand. Buster Posey's homer, the margin of victory. We'll be back.